Hi, my name is Daniel Balawi. I'm a professional makeup artist and hairstylist from Russia and also do a bit of photography. In today's video, I want to make a review of a Pat McGrath palette that came out, how many years? 2 years ago already, yes. The Mothership 9 Huetopian Dream. And while I still remember, please subscribe, write a comment, and please give this video a thumbs up. So the statistics of the people who watch me and subscribe is quite low. Here is the graph. I'm not very happy with that. You need to do better, okay? So please subscribe, leave a comment and all of that stuff, because I really need YouTube to promote my videos and this will help me quite a lot. In today's video, I will present you 3 makeup looks with the Huetopian Dream palette, swatches and my full review. And we will start with the makeup looks. I'm starting with the shade Extreme Plum Noir and I will be applying it in the outer area of my mobile lid, in this like diagonal shape a little bit, and into my inner corner. I will also apply it on my lower lid here and in the inner corner here. I will blend this edge a little bit with a brush that has some of my eyeshadow base on it. Now with a fluffy brush I will pick up the color Secret Eden and I will blend everything out. Now I will take a smaller blending brush and I will blend this shade down with Secret Eden. And now to marry the shadows together, I will take the same brush, the shade Plum Noir, like the darkest matte shade, and I will apply it like a little bit higher and blend it out and make the perfect transition. I know that it looks dirty right now, but I will clean the around areas a little bit later. Now I'll pick up the color Cosmic Bloom and I will apply it on my mobile lid, but I will leave the center untouched. And now for the center of my lid I will use the shade Astral Venusian Orchid. For my lower lid I will use the shade, this goldish shade in the palette. This might have been not the best of my ideas, but okay. As my tight liner waterline I will use the Epic Wear Liner Stick by NYX in the color Deepest Brown. And I will blend it into my eyeshadow. I will do the rest of my makeup and I will clean this area a little bit and I will come back to you. So this is my finished look number 1. I really love it. For the second makeup look, I'm starting with the shade Shockwave, and I will apply it in the outer area of my mobile lid, in the crease, on the lower lid here, so it will be my overall shade. Now I will pick up the color Blitz Extreme and I will apply it on my mobile lid. And with a small brush I will blend this color into our neon peachy color. For the lower lid I will use the color Bronze Desire. And as my inner corner highlight I will use the shade Cosmic Bloom. I will do the rest of my makeup and I will come back to you. And this is my second makeup look. I added Suva Hydroliner in the color Bubble Butt, so the pink one. And I also applied some Vican lip pencil on my waterline, and this is my finished look. I think it turned out very pretty. Here are my makeup looks number 1 and 2. For my fourth makeup look, I have already applied the eyeshadow base by Natasha Denona, and now I will take a MAC pencil in the color Coffee and I will map out my liner. I'm planning to go quite thick. And I will also apply this pencil on my lower lid. And also draw this second underliner, under wing. And yes, this makeup look is definitely inspired by Frankie P. Darling. Now I'm taking a pencil brush. In my case it's a squeezed, like a flat version of pencil brush, but a regular pencil brush will work. And I will blend my liner out a little bit. I mostly smooth the edge. If you made this like a small mistake like I did, just take your brush with the residues of your concealer, or in my case eyeshadow base, and just smooth it. And the same blending for the lower lid. Now I will take a flat brush and I will pick up the deepest matte shade from the palette, which is called Extreme Plum Noir, and I will apply it on my pencil. And for more delicate areas, I will also use an angled brush. Now I will take a flat brush, a little bit of my concealer, and I will clean this in between area between the two lines, between the two wings. Now I will pick up the shade Astral Amethyst Moon and I will apply it on my lid. I'm also patting it a little bit out. And now I will also apply it on my lower lid. And now, as my inner corner highlighter and underbrow highlighter, I will use this lightest shade from the palette, which is called Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. No, I don't like it in the inner corner. That's better. And I will also use this shade as my today's highlighter. Okay, I will do the rest of my makeup and I will come back to you. So, this is my finished look. I really like how it turned out. So what I did, I added on my waterline a Sephora pencil in the color 28 Matte Cobalt Blue. So it's 20-hour retractable eyeliner. I think it works here perfectly. And I also did the lashes the way I did in this video. So, these were the 3 makeup looks. Please write down in the comments which makeup look was your favorite. And now it's time for the swatches. Actually, this palette still has a film on the mirror. I will first swatch these 6 shades and then the special shades. Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. A beautiful light shade for the inner corner, for under eye highlight. It has a little bit of peachiness to it, so I really enjoy these kinds of shades when they have not like goldish sheen, but more of a nudie peach sheen. Secret Eden. So this is the lightest matte in the palette. Yes, it is pink, but it has this beiginess, peachiness to it, so it is a little bit more neutral shade of pinkish, which I really like. It blends out really easily, and it's a very good shade. Bronze Desire. It's a beautiful bronzy shade that leans a little bit more peach. It's not very muted, so I think it's pretty. It's a very nice, universal, maybe everyday, maybe a little too shiny for everyday shade, but it will also give you glam, so a very nice, neutral, safe shade. Extreme Plum Noir. This is the deepest matte shade in the palette. I wouldn't call it super deep, so it's more like medium deepness shade, so it won't give you a lot of depth variation, but it's quite fresh. It has this also peachiness into the plum undertone. I don't know, it's a little bit like warmer plum. Also very blendable. It's a pretty shade. Cosmic Bloom. This shade also has peachiness to it in its undertone, but the sheen is very distinctly pink. It's a very beautiful shiny shade with quite distinct like particles of shine, of specks of glitter, like small specks of glitter. I really like it. I think it's very pretty as well. Shockwave. Shockwave is the third and the last matte in the palette. It is a neon peach. If I remember correctly, Pat said that this shade is not meant to be applied on the eyes. Maybe it has some components that some people are allergic to, so she suggests using it on the cheeks. And yes, you can use it as a blush, especially if you have a deeper skin tone. It will be much easier because this shade is very pigmented. But if you want to risk, you can apply this shade on the eyes. I had absolutely no problems with that, but keep that in mind. And now the special shades. Bronze Solaris 005. So this is this goldish, bronzy shade. I consider it more to be like a goldish variation, more like a warmer gold. It's very dry, extremely dry, so it doesn't stick. if you don't have like a special stick base, and it makes quite hard to work with, and it gets everywhere. Do you see this shade is like everywhere? So these are my thoughts about this shade. It's a little bit hard to work with, and I understand why Pat changed the formula for this type of very shiny shades with quite big particles of glitters in it in her next palette in the Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction, because it is not easy to work with this shade. Blitz Extreme. This shade is a trichrome, and it is deeper than the shade in the Divine Rose 2, and as you can see it is pressed, so it's not baked as in the Divine Rose 2. It is actually really smooth, which I like, so it applies beautifully with absolutely zero problems. But because it is deeper, it's hard to show that it has three colors in it, that it's green, that it's gold, and that it's like reddish pinkish shade. You can really see the red, but the gold is almost impossible to show. I really tried to show it. It's not my most favorite shade in the palette, although it performs beautifully, and it's the deepest shade in the palette actually. It's very deep. A little fun shade, yes. Astral Venusian Orchid. So this shade is one of the prettiest shade I have ever seen in my entire life. It has this beautiful goldish, like lemony sheen, and it also has some like more purpley, like lilac particles and pink particles. It's such a fun, beautiful shade. I love it so much, and the size of these small specks of glitters is more or less the same as in the gold and as in this goldish bronze shade, but this shade feels much more smooth and much less dry. So although it might appear like they swatched more or less the same, no, this one is much more comfortable to work with, and it has a much nicer texture. I really love this shade. I think that maybe this shade and the next shade, maybe also this shade is also very pretty. These are the shades that make this palette worth buying, like at least considering buying it, because these two are just incredible colors. And actually talking about this shade, Astral Amethyst Moon. So this shade is also on my eyes right now. It's very pretty. It has this pinkish undertone and a very vibrant violet-y lilac sheen. It's so pretty, even like a little bit bluish. It has identical texture to this shade, so it is very comfortable to work with. It's not as dry as this goldish shade. I really love it. It also has this unicorn vibe as well as this shade. So these two are, I don't know, so pretty shades, so beautiful, so fresh. I just love them so much. So these are our swatches. If we compare the Huetopian Dream and Divine Rose 2, yes, they look kinda similar. Maybe Divine Rose is a little bit more pink because of this pink shade in the middle of the palette. And also I consider the special shades in the Divine Rose to be a little bit more consistent, so they are much smoother and easier to work with, because this shade just ruins everything for me. This goldish shade, it's why is it so hot, so dry? So they're similar, although I would not consider them to be like dupes or absolutely identical. I will swatch the trichrome shades for you to see the difference between them. So the darker one on the middle finger is the Huetopian Dream, and this one is the Divine Rose 2. And I consider the Divine Rose 2 trichrome to be a better shade, I think. You really can see the switches in it. Also, the trichrome shade from the Huetopian Dream is a little bit like warm, I think. So this one is Divine Rose 1. This one is Huetopian Dream. So the upper swatch is the Divine Rose 2, I just redid the swatches, and the lower one is the Huetopian Dream. You can see the shift. So the Divine Rose is more green, and the Huetopian Dream is warmer, as you can see. It has more yellowish green shift there. As a person who really loves color, both of these palettes bring a lot of joy to me, of course. And these special shades are just something else that you can really play with, and they bring a lot of colorful happiness for me. But I understand that this palette is not for everybody. I think that maybe even this palette is a little bit more universal than this, although they're both very, very bright. Well, these two shades, and I actually also very enjoyed this shade, justifies buying this palette for me. But I truly understand that, well, probably for most of you, you will not wear this palette on a daily basis or very often, and this palette just won't justify itself, like the purchase. It's a very expensive palette. Of course, you can get more natural makeup looks for every day with this palette. You have this universal light shade for the inner corner, maybe all over the lid. You have this shade, which is very wearable. This shade is also quite wearable. These two are also very nice. This you can use as a blush. Well, yes, you can use this palette on a daily basis and get an office-friendly makeup look, maybe several makeup looks. But I also consider this palette to be a summer palette because it's very vibrant. And while I was making these makeup looks for this video, I actually was quite amazed at how Pat McGrath, as usual, managed to make a very colorful palette truly wearable. So these colors are not too much, and although they're quite vibrant, I don't know how, but they managed to work really beautifully in the makeup looks. I don't know, it's the magic of Pat McGrath. Every time I buy a palette, if I love it or not, like from the start when I see it, then why I buy it. But maybe I'm a fan or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter. So when I buy a palette and I start using it, I fall in love with the makeup looks, and it happens with every single Pat McGrath palette I do a review. So it's really hard for me to rank it low, but honestly, I almost never ever use this palette. I used it maybe a couple of times since I bought it, and I bought it 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago. It was September 2021, or maybe October, somewhere there. So I use it very rarely, and I understand that maybe this purchase wasn't quite justified, but having it in my collection brings quite a lot of joy and happiness to me, because these colors, they just help my psychological health. I don't know, they're quite curing for me. So honestly, this is not the palette you need, but if you are really into sunny makeup looks and you want them to be quite wearable, if you really like this color combinations, like shade combination, then consider buying it. It's good, but I hate the texture of this shade, if I'm like 100% honest, and I think that this shade is kind of a little bit dull. So these are the downsides of this palette. I feel like Huetopian Dream is more for younger generation out there who has a lot of money, wants to buy Pat McGrath. So ladies 50 plus, maybe this palette is not for you, okay? Your teenage daughter will just take it away from you if you buy it. So this is my review. These are my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you liked it. Have a very good day, and bye-bye.